Fountain pens and inks. Obsession? Maybe. Welcome to Urban Inkspot. My name is Janine, and it is time to do my quarterly ink weigh-in for 2025. This year, I've decided to measure my bottled ink collection at the close of every quarter. My intention is to understand how much ink that I use estimated every year. And so I'm just going to go through and weigh all of my inks in ounces and in grams. A couple of things to note: I did get 3 new inks this quarter, and I also completed an ink, and I'm really excited to have completely finished this ink. So I'm going to measure the outgoing weight of just the bottle now that the ink is out. And so that's how I'll handle anything that's leaving the collection. Oh, you know what? I also need to measure this one. This is also leaving the collection. This is my Lennon Toolbar sesame oil, and this is leaving the collection because there's some stuff floating at the top of this ink bottle, and I don't want to risk, if this is contaminated, I don't want to contaminate the rest of my collection. So let me go ahead and weigh both of these guys, outgoing inks first, and then we'll measure all the rest of the stuff. My Diatramentis Document Black, and this is my Lennon Toolbar Sesame Oil, and that's it for the outgoing. Let me put these off to the side. You will probably never see those guys again. Interesting. Okay, so let's go through the weigh-in. I'll go ahead and put some music on, and I'll speed up the video so you guys don't have to watch me do this whole measuring thing. And then I'll come back later on once we're done so we can see what the progression looks like at different intervals. All right, here we go. Okay, I will be back a little bit later after I get these documented, and then we will talk about which ones either got used the most or evaporated the most over the last quarter. All right, be right back. Okay, now, and we're back. This is my working ink summary spreadsheet, and I'm showing all of the bottled inks in my collection in the order I bought them. Now, a quick sidebar, I'm working on a swatch video of all of these inks, and it should be published soon. So if you're into that kind of content, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss it. Anyway, I took a baseline measurement in December 31st of last year, and now I'm tracking quarterly for 2025. I've used 56 grams of ink so far, which is about 56 milliliters. Some of that uptick is just me writing and journaling more, but I've also enjoyed gifting samples, which we're going to get into in a minute. So here's what's changed in the collection. Of the 23 inks that started the year with me, 21 are still in rotation. 5 new inks entered the collection in the first half of the year, and 2 inks left this quarter. Let's dive into the brand breakdown, and we'll look at who's pulling the most weight so far this year. First up, leading the charge, Iroshizuku. Now, this brand clocked in at 34% of the year-to-date change, so a full third of my total ink usage. I shared really generous samples of Iroshizuku at a recent pen meetup. It's part of the joy and one of the things I really love most, and it's made me really excited that I found a local pen meetup that I can participate in and share inks out with this group. In second and third place, Kiyono Oto and Lennon Toolbar. Now, both of these are boutique darlings. I bought these inks from either Yoseka Stationery or Goods for the Study here in New York City, and I keep coming back to them because they're subtle, they feel artsy to me, and there's just something about them that keeps drawing me to them. Kiyono Oto, in particular, totally crushing on those inks, so I'm not surprised at all to see it ranking so high. And as for Lennon Toolbar, it was in some high-capacity pens and it got regular use, which ranking makes sense. But then I actually saw something floating in the bottle of one of my Lennon Toolbar inks, so that's not ideal. And rather than risking contaminating the rest of my collection, I ended up disposing of that ink today. The middleweights, dependable but quiet. Now, these brands came in around 4 to 5% of the total. They're, I guess we'd call them a solid supporting cast. You know, maybe they're not the headliners, but they're always ready for a close-up. And finally, the 2%ers, the blink and you'll miss them crowd. These brands really made just the tiniest dent, but they still made an impression. And I would say they would have been a larger part of the pie if it hadn't been for Iroshizuku and all of the generous samples. You may be surprised to see Colorverse Shiny Black in the 2%ers because I gush about that ink so much. Same thing with Birmingham Pen Company Interstellar Bronze, but when inks are this intense or this experimental, a little bit goes a long way. So 17 brands in total. And honestly, that feels like a great snapshot of the collection or how my usage has looked over the last half year. So thanks for spending some time with me today. I'm a pretty big nerd and I really love tracking this stuff, and I'm glad I get to share it with you. And that's it for this quarter's weigh-in. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. And in the meantime, remember, it might not be just ink. It might be personality on paper. Thanks for stopping by. Bye now.